Well, welcome back, guys. Today I thought I'd continue with the discussion on the Audacity converting your old vinyl records to a digital. Now, so far, I have converted completely one album. It's an old 1980 album by John. At the time, his name was John Cougar. And then, when he became a little more powerful, he insisted that the record company use his real name, John Mellencamp. So this vinyl that I had back in 1980, I recorded it straight through, first side, then second side. And I'll briefly review the process with you, and then we'll go over a little bit of hands-on with another recording that I did. So, as you can see, all of these various songs on the album are recorded as separate MP3s, just like you would if you had purchased it. These can be brought over into iTunes or whatever music player that you're using. The song that I played a little clip of was Hot Night in a Cold Town. Now, let me show you what it takes to basically get to this point. The first thing you have to do is, when you open Audacity, is to go in and set up your preferences. So that's under Edit and then Preferences. Then you're going to set up your devices for playback and for recording. Now, if you have a USB turntable like I do, then you'll select USB audio codec from your available inputs. Okay? For playback, you'll set whatever your default playback is. In my case, it's analog off the onboard sound on the Intel chip. So that's where I set both of those so I can play back and record. Now, if you go into playback, I left the defaults. I left the defaults on recording, and I left the defaults on quality. Now, I'm going to close that out and just mention one more thing. When you're recording, you're going to see the level. Normally, you would adjust your recording level with this microphone up in the top. However, in my case, that had no effect. That wouldn't move. And that's because of the way that I had it set up for my input, for my recording input, being that it was the USB turntable. I had to go into the sound card. So if you click on sound and input, I had to go into the sound card itself on the sound preferences and adjust it in here on the input volume. So if you're clipping, if you're going up too high on the recording level, you don't want to do that. You want to stay as high as you can without clipping. So I needed to adjust mine down, which I did. Okay, so basically, if you were recording an entire album, you would start the record and then press record. Now, if you let it play all the way through and record the entire album, then you would go back and basically you would scan the tracks to find the silence between tracks. Then you would create a label, which is the name of the song. So you would click Add Label. You would click Add Label, and then once that little text box comes up, you type in your track name. And you do that on all the tracks for that side. Once you're done with that, then you would go over and onto the File menu and click Export Multiple. Okay? So, and that's the mechanics of creating a whole album side and separating the tracks. As far as the recording itself and cleaning it up, let's take a listen to this old 45. And this one here is in really tough shape. So let's take a listen. Well, welcome back, guys. I am going to continue on with the discussion regarding converting vinyl to digital. Now, right now I'm in Manjaro XFCE, and the reason I'm in Manjaro is because I tried to, well, first of all, in Ubuntu Mate, the last video I did where I talked about the graphics driver. So in Ubuntu Mate, I opened up Audacity. I actually recorded 2 albums. One of them I split into separate tracks and finished up the entire thing. And then I started to do a video on that process in Ubuntu Mate, and I ran into all kinds of problems with Audacity. It just got to the point where I copied everything over to Manjaro, and I'm going to finish up in Manjaro and finish up this subsequent video, finalizing the topic of converting vinyl to digital. So, and guys, it doesn't get any better than Manjaro XFCE, really. It just works. So let's take a look at Audacity. So here's a little clip that I recorded specifically for this video. I'm going to go through a little bit of the mechanics of copying over your vinyl records to digital. Now, I'm assuming that, and for the sake of argument, I'm going to use my USB turntable because I'm assuming that most people, when they copy vinyl over, they have a USB turntable. Now, a lot of the old turntables with the RCA plugs, those can be used also, but you need some converters in between. So I'm not going to cover that. I'm only going to cover what I have, which is a USB turntable. But regardless, the process is pretty much the same once you have it hooked up. Now, at the top of the menu in the Edit tab, you go down to Preferences, because the first thing you need to do is configure your recording device and your playback. So you've got your devices. Also is the sound configuration that I have running in Manjaro. My playback device would be my internal sound card that's on the motherboard, the chip. It has Intel sound and it is analog, so that would be my default sound playback device. For recording, my input is going to be that USB turntable. When you hook up the USB turntable, your sound card or your sound configuration menu will reflect USB audio codec. And if you have a USB turntable, that's what you'll select as your recording input. Playback, I left the defaults. Recording, I left the defaults. Quality, I left the defaults. Everything else is the default. Now, one of the things you should know is that when you're starting to record, you're going to see your recording levels, and if you want to make sure you stay low enough so you're not clipping the audio. If you do have a clipping issue, then you would have to resolve that by lowering the recording level, and you may here the recording level, it can be set. However, you may, as I found out, have to go into your sound card and do it within the sound card. And let me see if I can pull that up. And so what you would do is open your sound or volume control from the multimedia. So go into Pulse Audio Volume Control or whatever you're using and set your input. And you'll want to set your recording input for whatever you're using to record. You need to set your levels so that you don't begin to clip. Once you do that, start up your album on your turntable and press record, and it'll go across and it will record everything. Now, if you want to record an entire album, you can do that, but once it's done, at the end, stop, click to rewind all the way back to the beginning. And then what you'll need to do is you will need to search out the space, the dead space between songs, and then you're going to, let's see, you're going to add a label, go into tracks, click add label at selection. Once you click that, a little text box will open up and you can type the name of the song. And you'll do that for each song. The space between the songs, get as close as you can to the beginning of the next song and then type in the name. Once you have all that done, then you'll do your cleanup. Once your cleanup is done, then you'll go over and you're happy with it. Then you go over and click on Export Multiple, and it will, and then once you click on that, you'll need to set all the parameters, whether you want WAV files, MP3s. Once you click on Export Multiple and you finalize all your settings, then it will copy everything. In my case, I used MP3s, so it copied everything into MP3s, as you can see here. So this worked out really well for me. Now, let's take a look at some of the issues you'd have to contend with. Once your recording is done, you need to use some of the effects to clean it up. Now, you can use click removal, noise reduction. I used noise reduction. You can go back and use click removal, or you can use repair. There are a few different ways of doing it, and there are much more in-depth videos in YouTube on those different repair options. But I'm going to go over the noise reduction, okay? Because on vinyl you get quite a bit of noise. Now, if we take a look, this is the beginning of the record, and this is a 45 that has been beat up pretty bad, and it's very, very dirty, and I don't know how good I'm going to be able to get this recording, but we will take a look. Okay, so if I press play, you'll see how bad this really is. Now, do you recognize the song? And for copyright reasons, I'm not going to mention anything. But let's take a look. I went back to the beginning. And what you would do is, if you click on zoom in, you can see all of the junk in the track. Okay, and this is where the actual music starts. If you are going to do noise reduction, you have to be careful you don't get too aggressive. And you have to create a sample that the Audacity will use as a guide for what you want to remove. Now, if I take the extreme, it's going to be too extreme. It'll end up removing some of the music frequencies, and the music will not sound right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a section that isn't too bad, and I'm just going to take a little bit of sample here. Once I highlight a couple seconds, then I'm going to go to Effect, click on Noise Reduction, and click on Get Noise Profile. Leave this on the defaults. You click on Get Noise Profile. So now it knows what I want to do and how aggressive I want to be with noise removal. So now I'm going to click on Edit and select All. Then I'm going to go back and click on Noise Reduction and OK. Now it just applied that algorithm basically to the song itself. So if I play it back, let's see if we can get it back to where it was. Okay, so if I play it back, well, first of all, I don't want all this stuff. So let's say since there's no music here, we highlight that and we click delete, because that was just junk. Now if I click play, okay, so you can hear that it has improved, but it's still pretty scratchy. So I'm going to stop it, rewind. I'm going to zoom in again. So that I can grab another couple seconds. Noise reduction. I'm going to get another noise profile. And I'm going to click, I'm going to go select all. And then I'm going to click on noise reduction. Okay. So as you can see, this smoothed out considerably because it went back and it removed a little more noise. So let's go back to the beginning. Get it back to where it was. Now you can see the song itself has really, the frequencies have been diminished. Let's see how bad this sounds. Now you can hear that it's pretty bad. It's not the way it's supposed to sound. So we're gonna undo that last noise reduction. You see how much it shrunk it? That's the way it's supposed to sound. Now, only going to be able to get this as good as you can without messing up the music. So, but what I would suggest is, you see this, let me see if I can find some spikes. Now, if you can find a spike from a scratch and you highlight it and click repair. Okay, so it's telling me I'm using too big a section for repair. So evidently it only works on small sections. So let's take a look at this section right here. See that? See if that'll work. Okay, you see how it straightened it out? Now you can, let me go back. You can go back and identify spikes within the recording and eliminate them that way. Now this looks like a spike here. So let's take a look at it. It actually doesn't look too bad. It's probably the music itself. Let's back out and let's take a look at this here, right there. Alright, so let's see if I'm able to repair that. No, it's too big, so let's shrink it down. Okay, so it took care of that. You can see how it smoothed it out. Now, if you find any noticeable spikes, you can go back in and repair them one by one. So if we go back to the beginning and let's play. So I am going to try one more effect. Click removal. I'm going to leave the thresholds on the defaults. Select all. Click removal. Okay. Now, try one more thing. Lower is more sensitive, max spike width, higher is more sensitive. So I don't want too much sensitivity. I'm going to leave it alone because it's telling me that that algorithm is not effective on this piece of music. So let's try and let's go ahead and normalize. And this basically smooths out the volume. on the whole track. So, and that's done. So let's go back. Now you can hear all kinds of clicks and pops. So I am going to try click removal. Lower is more sensitive. Higher is more sensitive. So let's see if we can make that happen. Okay, let's go a little more aggressive. Okay, you see how much it affected the song itself? So let's try and listen. Now, it still sounds decent. It still sounds decent, but it did remove a lot of the clicks and pops. So when you're satisfied with it, you can save the project or you can export the audio. So now if you were dealing with multiple songs, you would click on export multiple. But if we click on export, pick a name for it, a location. I'm gonna put it to the desktop. And then you fill in whatever you want here. You can put in the artist name, title, and you do want to put as much information as possible. And that's it. I saved it as a WAV file on my desk, on my desktop. So if I close out Audacity and double click, so that's the process. And for copyright purposes, I didn't want to use anything that was too identifiable, but that one there, I'm sure you know what that song is. So anyway, that is the process for Audacity. As I said, there are many more videos online showing the process more in depth, but I gave you a brief rundown on what the steps are, what the mechanics are, so you can decide whether it's something you want to try. The songs that I did came out really good. This is the song that I used for the quiz, and I'll show you how that sounds. And that's much better than the clip that I used as an example of Audacity's features. So on that note, guys, I think That wraps up this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. As usual, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for all the new subscribers. I really appreciate that. If you have any suggestions for future videos or any distributions you'd like me to take a look at, feel free. And but as I said, I'm amazed at how Manjaro is, especially XFCE, rock solid. They just issued another update also. So guys, take care. I'll see you soon.